Did you know that the Buffalo Soldiers were still in service during World War II? Well, there was one group of them. The Tuskegee Airmen were an elite group of African-American pilots who served in the 99th Fighter Squadron during World War II. They earned their designation for their bravery and skill in combat, as well as their tenacity in the face of danger. But what many people don't know is that the Tuskegee Airmen weren't the only Buffalo Soldiers to serve in World War II. In fact, there were Buffalo Soldiers serving in every branch of the U.S. military during the war, and they faced racism and discrimination from their fellow Americans at home and abroad. So let's take a look at some of the Buffalo Soldiers who served in World War II today. What were the Buffalo Soldiers? Who were the Buffalo Soldiers? The Buffalo Soldiers were African-American soldiers who served in the U.S. Army's 24th and 25th Infantry Divisions. They got their name from the American Indians who fought against them during the Indian Wars of the 1800s. The soldiers were known for their bravery, strength, and endurance. And after the Spanish-American War, they were sent to the Philippines to help put down a rebellion against American rule. It was here that the Buffalo Soldiers really made a name for themselves. They fought against the Filipino guerrillas with distinction and were praised by their commanders for their courage and determination. As the 20th century dawned, the Buffalo Soldiers continued to serve around the world. They were sent to fight in the Caribbean, in the Congo, and in China. And all the time, they were building a reputation for excellence. When World War II broke out, it was no surprise that the Buffalo Soldiers were ready to answer the call. In fact, more than 1,000 of them had already been in combat when the war began. By the time the United States entered the conflict in December 1941, the Buffalo Soldiers were eager to prove themselves on the battlefield. What did the Buffalo Soldiers do during World War II? When the United States entered World War II, the Buffalo Soldiers were already battle-tested. They had seen combat in the Philippines, in the Caribbean, in the Congo, and in China. So when they were called upon to serve, they were ready. The Buffalo Soldiers served in every branch of the U.S. military during World War II. They were in the infantry, the artillery, the engineers, and even the Air Corps. They fought in Europe and Africa and in Asia. They were involved in some of the most famous battles of the war, including the invasion of Normandy and the liberation of France. The Buffalo Soldiers were also involved in the Pacific Theater of Operations. They fought against the Japanese in some of the fiercest battles of the war, including the Battle of Iwo Jima. Despite the racism and discrimination they faced from their fellow Americans at home and abroad, the Buffalo Soldiers fought with valor and distinction. They were awarded more than 1,500 Purple Hearts and 660 Bronze Stars for their bravery and their sacrifice. One of the most famous Buffalo Soldiers of World War II was Brigadier General Benjamin O. Davis, Jr. He was the first African American to reach the rank of general in the United States. He commanded the 92nd and 93rd Divisions and led them through some of the most brutal fighting in Europe. Another famous Buffalo Soldier was Sergeant William D. Adams. He was the first African American to receive the Medal of Honor, the highest award for valor in combat. He was awarded the medal for his actions during the invasion of Anzio. The Buffalo Soldiers were an important part of the American military during World War II. They were brave, courageous, and selfless individuals who put their lives on the line to defend the United States and its allies. Their service and sacrifice should be remembered and honored. Did you find this video interesting? Tell us in the comments below. Please like and subscribe so you don't miss out on future videos.